Python, based in Waterloo. It's about an hour south of Toronto. So the theme was really using AI to give voice to something, right? So the theme was pretty open. You can see here the format. You could either work solo or in teams, and you're welcome to use any tech stack that you want. But of course, bonus points if you use your sponsors. I did put the sponsors here. That's just because they are US based. They are, I believe, from San Francisco. So if you want to check them out, they're mostly voice agent startup based in San Francisco. So I decided to do a Sassy plant, but I wanted. Oh, okay. Can you hear? Yeah. Okay. So my idea was to do a Sassy plant, but just to give you a bit of a background, the way that I came up with this was last year I started gardening and I tried out a bunch of different plants and seeds. I had tomatoes, I had peppers, basil, a bunch of flowers like marigolds and roses. And if you've ever gardened before, you will find out pretty quickly that every plant has their own different needs. So I found a meme online, and I think it represents it quite well. You know, some of them are very sensitive to the amount of light and the amount of water that you give to them. Some others are very resistant and they can almost thrive in very harsh conditions. Um, Same online, I found something else. And this is something that actually happened to me. I left for a weekend. The weather was nice, and I pretty much forgot about my plants. And this is exactly what happened to my basil. She was droopy. She was just so sad, and she looked so upset at me. So as soon as I noticed that, when I came back from the weekend, I watered her immediately. And within an hour or two, she came back to life. So that's yeah, so here's it. So yeah, that's a little bit about the motivation behind this hackathon project. And I wanted to give some of the schematics and the hardware that I've been using. So I don't know if you can see it here, but I have an Arduino that's a microcontroller, kind of like a brain outside of your own computer. And the white thing is a breadboard. That's where you can build your circuit. And that's where I have a phototransistor. That's what detects the amount of light that's in the room. And then, of course, I have a moisture sensor, if you can see it in the room. Um, that's what you stick it right into the soil, and it will tell you how moist or how dry the plant is. So the idea is to really collect the data through the Arduino. It will go to the computer via USB cable, and then it will pass that information to the back end and then to the front end. Some more tech details. I built the back end in Python with FastAPI, and the front end is just a React application. The way that the backend and the front end communicate is mostly through WebSockets. So if you're familiar with HTTP, usually the front end makes a request to the server, and then the server decides whether to accept the request and accept the data. And then after that, the communication is dropped. With WebSockets, instead, what happens is there's a handshake between the client and the server. So they're kind of agreeing upon this connection. And then the connection remains open until one of the two parties or a third party decides to interrupt that channel. So this was very useful for my project because I did not just want to talk to the plant and have her talk back to me. I also wanted the plant to detect changes in the light level or in the water level and to talk to me directly without being prompted. So the WebSocket was a perfect way to implement this. The way that I used AI was I used GPT-4o by OpenAI to handle the text to speech. I also tried real time, but I have some comments that I can talk about later. So yeah, before going to the interface, I just wanted to briefly go over the code. So this is my WebSocket Manager class. If you can see, I have the connect method there. That's where the handshake happens. I also have a disconnect function and the broadcast. That's where the communication happens to any client that is subscribed to the WebSocket. And this is how I use the WebSockets. So, sorry. Yeah, so first I have the published data point. So every second, the Arduino communicates a data point to the back end that is later displayed on the front end. And so that method is a way to communicate that from the back end to the front end. I also want the plant to communicate a state change to me. And sometimes state changes can happen at the very close in time. So I don't want her to talk over herself. That's why I want to notify the front end of a state change without audio. And finally, I just wanted to respond to me when I ask her a question. Just very quickly, these are the prompts that I give to the LLM. The first one is a very generic. This is when we talk to the plant directly. I want her to respond with 2 complete sentences based on the plant name, the type, and the sassiness level. But when she detects a change in her state, then I made the prompt dynamic. So based on whether the change is in the light or the water level, I added those 2 comments dynamically. All right, so now I think we can go to the front end. This is just the interface. I also have a form here that you can use if you want to update the plant name and the plant type. And here's a summary of the plant name. Of course, it's called Michigan Python Group's plant today because we borrowed it from Cahoots. So thank you, Cahoots. I believe she's a snake plant, so we'll keep it that way. And I assume she was watered 3 days ago. And on the right there, you can see the water and light monitoring. So the blue line is just the soil moisture level, and the orange one is the light. The shaded area is the part where she is comfortable. So it's not too bright, not too dark, not too moist, not too dry. And whenever she crosses one of those boundaries, that's when she's supposed to talk to us. Okay, so I just wanted to start by talking to her directly and asking her a question and see if maybe she can introduce herself. Who are you?
Yes, I'm as fabulous as I sound. I've been basking in neglect for 3 days and I'm still thriving. Can you say the same?
All right. Oh, so she showed us her sassiness right away, just with the very first interaction. So as you noticed, that there is a little bit of a delay, and that's because, well, first of all, we're doing a request to the LLM. So that takes a little bit of time. And also I am sending the audio file from the back end to the front end. It's my very first time handling this type of WAF, I think it's called, type of audio files. I'm sure there's an optimal way, but for the hackathon, I decided just to go this way, this route. Okay, so now I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna mimic a state change. So I think the easiest way is to probably mimic her going to sleep. So I'm just gonna cover the photo transistor and see what happens. All right, you can see that the change is detected in the plot there.
Well. Looks like someone decided to turn off the sun. I guess I'll just have to adapt and embrace my inner goth plant. If you need, I'll be over here, photosynthesizing in the dark, like the resilient, sassy survivor I am.
Great. So she's definitely a sassy one. And so again, there was a bit of a delay because what I do is I look back at the past 5 seconds, and the change has to happen within those 5 seconds. So it takes a little bit for her to record that. And if you noticed, the light level came back up, but she did not speak over herself just because I have that flag in the back end. So, all right. And now we're going to do the last demo. I'm going to water her. This is the tricky part. Sometimes this is not really effective. So we'll see if she decides to tell us something. It's like, yeah, okay.
Oh, fabulous. You've upgraded me from a chic desert dweller to a reluctant swamp resident. I mean, who doesn't love wet socks all the time, right? Let's dial back the hydration, or I'll start auditioning for Underwater Plants Anonymous.
All right. So again, she does not hold back on the sassiness. All right, so that's pretty much the demo. I just have a few points that I wanted to make. I already talked about the tech details. I did mention that I used text to speech. I did try with real time, but it was really burning through my credits. It's quite expensive. And also it was very sensitive to any ambient noise. So it was very difficult to manage, especially throughout a hackathon. And so that's why I decided to go with TTS. What's next? I think it will be so fun, really fun to gamify it. So if you have multiple plants, they could talk to each other. If you have other friends who are gardeners, the plants could talk to each other and gossip about their owners. But ultimately, for me, it was a fun experience, but also to bring us closer to our houseplants and maybe nature. Yeah, I have their go touch grass. So, um, unfortunately, I could not bring marigold seeds because with the border it would be a bit tricky, but that is my contact information. So feel free to connect. And yeah, thanks for having me. That's really fun. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Tell you to stop your water.
I mean, you can go crazy. You can do whatever you want with this, right? It was just for a hackathon project, so I just had to really control the way in which she would respond. But yeah, definitely, you could implement that.